Hey everyone, it's James. It is April 6th, about 7:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is my 4-hour chart of Bitcoin. This is BTC USD on the Bitfinex exchange. Well, first of all, this is not investment advice. And then second of all, what I wanted to say is that we are still in a downtrend. So we have a series of lower highs and a series of lower lows. The question is, do we put in a lower low under the 6,000 range? Real quick, let me just put a little line right through here. That way everyone can visually see this. When I put a line cutting right through the center of price action, you can see that we are oscillating around a downward negative slope. And that is exactly what these red lines tell you, is that this is the price action and the framing of price action. And what we see is that we are obviously adhering to a negative slope going downward, showing that sellers are in control of this market. Now, I put a pink line out here. This is a current uptrend line. You can see that price is just hovering right above it over here, and I'll talk about that in just a little bit. But anyways, what the red line is this is right through the center. This line out here shows where price is more than likely going to get exhausted, and as you can see, every time prices hit this zone, it's become exhausted and it's fallen from that area, and it's hit it one more time, and we've done the same exact thing. Now, another thing too is that every run we have ever since this area right here and this failure to break to a new high has been almost 2 times downward So you can see this as I trace this. We have not hit 2 times downward yet. If we do, it's going to bring us below the 6,000 bottom into roughly around the maybe 5,700 range. Let me zoom out real quick. That way I can talk about an area where I think that if the buyers at the 6,000 level do not step up, right? Even if we get a bounce, and we get downward movement from that bounce at the 6,000 range, the next likely buyers are around 54 to 5,500. Okay, if those buyers are still looking at this market, still interested in that market, that would be an area to where price could bounce from. You can obviously see the base formation here and what ensued after those buyers stepped into the market. There's a lot of other factors that occurred here. This is the euphoric stage of the bubble, but anyways, those are just some areas that I am watching to see how price reacts. Now, we have the purple upsloping line, which was basically the reverse of the downtrend lines that you see. So I'm circling it right here. This is an uptrend line. Now, I've talked about in my prior videos. We broke through the line, we retested the line, could not regain the area. We tried to make a recovery back to that line, okay? Now, typically when price hits this, it's a positive sign, but it's also a continuation of more downside movement. However, we failed to do that, leaving this gap. That means that there is a lot of selling pressure in the market. Now, obviously, we can see that from a bigger view, a bigger perspective on the market when you have a series of lower highs and lower lows. But what we have here now, let me zoom in real quick, make sure my marker doesn't go crazy. But what we have here are coils forming. And this is a coil right here. And then this is a mini coil right here. When these coils form, especially in a horizontal fashion, there's about a 50-50 probability on which direction price is going to go. Now, when we look at it on a bigger time scale, we have a bigger horizontal consolidation. So even if we do get a rally, I still think there's a larger possibility that we continue the pattern to move downward or whipsaw back and forth in this area. Obviously not that quick, but I think you understand what I'm trying to say. Something like this, building out a bigger base formation, which I think would be a positive sign for the market. Now, if we use this pink line, we do not break below this pink line, and we continue upward, saving the 6,000 low, we could have a nice subtle uptrend in the market that could lead to higher highs and higher lows, and something that I've called for in my earlier videos where I was anticipating a higher low that would ultimately lead to a new bull market in Bitcoin, something that you would see like in the stock market or fiat market, etc. So, but what I see here, okay, when I zoom out, this is this is where I'm coming up with these logical assumptions, is that we have price reacting to a negative slope and sticking to that. And every time it attempts to break the negative downward selling pressure, it fails every single time, okay? This time we didn't even get a reaction. Okay, typically Bitcoin will put in a reaction. So we got our high, we have a reaction, downward, high, reaction, downward, high, no reaction. So that is more than likely a negative sign, a telling sign, a red flag that says, hey, the sellers are dominating this market. Now, where we could get positive is that if price breaks to the upside and breaks above about the 6,800 level, okay, and then makes its trip up to about the 7,500 level, if we can clear 7,500, okay, that will be a positive sign, but we still have this resistance zone right here around 7,900 where price could come back down and either do one or two things, either form a higher low or continue downward, busting this zone, creating a bear flag. Okay, so and Bitcoin has been notorious for doing that lately. So and you can see these little, these little bear flags as you go through the chart. This is just, essentially a bigger one right here, and this is not really one right here. But anyways, the point is that once we start to form these upward, coils, these consolidation patterns, these bear flags, it's not a good sign at all, and that's what we see here. We just see a nice little consolidation. This is more at an upward angle, and that's why we had the breakout to the downside. But right here, as we flattened out, okay, that's leaving the probability of price movement at a 50-50 chance. Okay, I've done this for over 9 years, and I don't know anybody that when price goes to a coil can call it to a T every single time. You might get lucky, you might guess which way price is going, but consistent calling of coil formations, especially horizontal coils, is very, very difficult, and so that's what keeps me a little apprehensive of this movement. But I am still in the bear camp. I still think that price is headed downward. The reason why is I still see a lot of bullish sentiment around Bitcoin. Now, I'm not calling for the demise of Bitcoin. I'm not trying to put the nail in the coffin for Bitcoin. But when the sentiment is still bullish as price is declining, that's not a good sign. What you want to see is chaos in a market, and chaos leads to opportunity. But what it also does is reset sentiment in a market. When sentiment gets reset, especially to extremes like you see in the stock market right now, when people are freaking out thinking it's the end of the world and they can only see nothing but negative downward pressure for that, negative downward price movement for that, for the stock market or whatever it is, Bitcoin, etc. What that does is that puts investors on the sidelines, and it gets them watching, and it gets them apprehensive to enter into a market. And then when the market does make the run, those investors that are on the sidelines calling for the end of the world, screaming like panic, that we do not see in this market at all. Okay, everything's to the moon in this market. But anyways, when that occurs in this market, I think that will be the telling sign that price is very close to the bottom, and that will be the area that will lead to higher highs and higher lows. Now, we could, I don't mean to reiterate myself, but if we do base out in this area, I think that will be a positive sign as long as we base in a horizontal fashion. If we create a higher high and then start to break back downward, that's obviously going to be a negative sign, as we are going to form just a larger bearish flag. So anyways, that's pretty much it. What I think is going to happen based on price action. Okay, I gave the upside, but what I think is ultimately going to happen is that we are going to break downward. We are going to test this 6,000 bottom. If we test the 6,000 bottom and we get a little bounce, I do not anticipating it going much higher. Okay, maybe there's just a little soft rally here, just a relief rally, and then boom, back downward. And what I think we're going to do is more than likely break that 6,000 area and come test this area, this mid 5,000 range, which I've called for in my prior videos too. So that's what my anticipations are based on the price action in Bitcoin as of now. The only thing that's going to change my mind is if we break this area and we put in a higher high followed by a correction that leads to a higher low and then price movement from there. That would change my mind on the overall analysis. It would not mean that you're getting left behind at the train station. It would just mean that now we have a final sign of a change in market. So that's what I'm waiting for. I'm not trying to say this is the end of Bitcoin. Even if we go down to 5,000, it does not mean it's the end of Bitcoin at all. So I think people listen to that and they think that, oh, this guy's calling, for the demise and it's going to go to zero and he hates Bitcoin or anything like that. No, this is just simple technical analysis where we're looking at a series of lower highs and lower lows and we're seeing seller domination, and every rally is being sold into, and it's being sold into like horrifically to where the move is being retraced not only 100% but 200%, and that's a huge red flag in the market. So anyways, that's it for tonight. I hope everybody has a great night, great weekend, great morning, depending on where you are in the world. If you do like the video, please like, comment, subscribe, follow, depending on what social media platform you're watching on. You can visit my site, geometriccharts.com. At the bottom, I do have the links to my social media accounts, and I have the link to my Slack community, which is absolutely free to join. And there's over, I want to say almost 190 members now. There's been a large influx of people joining, and it's really good. You have people that are sharing their own ideas, their own analysis, their own opinions, and news as well. And it is mainly cryptocurrency based. I don't really see anything else other than cryptocurrency in there. So if you are interested in cryptocurrency, you might as well join and at least have access to other like-minded people. And everybody's been extremely friendly. I've not had one issue with anybody so far. So it's been absolutely amazing and just a great community to be a part of. So anyways, that's it for tonight. I will talk to everybody tomorrow. And again, have a great night or a great day depending on where you are. And I thank you for your time and your support.